Hello everybody. We're hanging out. It's been a time.
We did it
Liz,
live.
you also lost your background, just so you know.
I know.
I know I'm giving you more
I'll bring
things
it
to worry
back.
about.
It's all good.
But it's fine. Everything's fine. It's a beautiful day. I'm with all of you.
So
it's
true.
Great.
Straight facts. Why doesn't everyone introduce themselves and say, "Hey"?
I'm gonna make Sly go first.
Echo it.
Your turn.
Is it me?
We're getting Marissa's feed from Alexis's speaker.
I muted my
TikTok audience. It's so funny.
Alexis, turn your TikTok volume down. Okay.
Oh, it's perfect. It was funny. I was like,
I can hear Marissa. It's all the way down.
Oh, I just didn't want to talk over Sly, but I wanted everyone on TikTok to know what's going on.
Okay, don't worry.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sly. I'm a deaf, queer person on the internet.
That needs to be on the bingo card for this show.
And I am joined here today with three lovely people. Alexis, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Alexis. I talk about comics and cats on the internet. And hi, welcome. That's pretty much all you need to know.
Liz?
Marissa, go next.
Okay.
Let me go last.
Hi, I'm Marissa. I talk about Disney and feminism and Marvel and sometimes theater
media
and
studies.
hair. Yeah, I am a media studies student, and I like Disney properties. That's what you gotta know.
So true.
And she is a WandaVision stan.
That is important. WandaVision stan. I'm very excited for this week.
For the scope of the evening.
I did not wear my WandaVision merch because I wore it last week, and I didn't know we were doing this episode. So I'm wearing my off-brand WandaVision merch that actually has nothing to do with WandaVision. It just says "Stay Magical," but I feel like it's like a Scarlet Witchy type font. So I feel like it fits.
I was going to come as the 70s, and then it occurred to me that I had not told anybody else that idea, and I would be showing up as the only one.
Oh, you should have done it.
Oh, I could have worn my Halloween costume.
Wait,
that was my Halloween costume.
I should have worn my spooktacular sweatshirt.
And I should have worn
I forgot.
from my merch store. Wow. Wait, I went for Harry instead, which is still a bold choice that I'm proud of. But yeah, I literally made multiple pieces of WandaVision merch and chose to wear 0 of them to the WandaVision. Maybe I'll go grab one if I have a chance to stand up. I'll go grab one and pull it into the show.
So Liz is doing some last minute tech things behind the scenes, but we have some friends joining us on YouTube and Twitch. Hello, everybody. Hi, Sylvan Fox. Hi, Bunky. Hi, JJ.
Hey, friends.
Hello, friends.
I just want to say Marissa's literally the kindest friend ever because I'm just doing the things that I didn't do that I should have done a while ago.
You had a lot going on today.
It's true. It's true. It's a lot going on.
Did you say you saw Sylvan? Sylvan is here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I chose the picture for our game specifically to entice you to watch the next season of the show you're watching. So just know that was an intentional play on my part.
Beautiful. I love that so much. Okay, I'm still uploading some photos here, so why don't y'all let everyone know what we're talking about this evening?
We have a full show today. We have, 3 segments planned? Look at us go.
Imagine that. Imagine us having a bunch of segments planned. We're so good. No, but it's going to be a fun show. It's 1 year of WandaVision tonight, which, if you don't know, this show is home to literally the biggest WandaVision fan on the planet. True. Me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I'm kidding. I was talking about you. We have our resident WandaVision expert, Marissa, here, and we're going to be reminiscing on 1 year of the show and how we're feeling a year later. A whole year to digest not only that project, but what it meant for Marvel long-term and the way it impacted other projects across 2021. Last week, we talked a lot about what 2021 had in store for Marvel and what it gave us as fans. And we did talk about the impact that WandaVision had and how it's one of the only projects that really held its ground over the whole course of the year in a way that it stayed a favorite amongst many fans. It kept its heart. It was not impacted by the other stories. It really just had its own place in the lore of Phase 4. And not all of the projects aged as well as WandaVision did 1 year later. It's really a show that has still claimed a lot of new fans, a lot of places in people's hearts, and there's a lot of shows that did not receive the same fate. So we're here to celebrate the show. We're going to talk about moments we miss, moments from the era that, we still remember fondly a year later, and we're going to play the WandaVision game where we talk about what shows would impact our lives should we be surrounded by chaos magic, or whatever the right way to say that is.
I have to answer one question.
Absolutely.
I have not watched Timeless, but I've read a lot of fanfic from it. So hopefully soon
Sly did a
I'll
better
watch
job
it.
reading the recommended reading than Sylvan has done. I will say that.
And speaking of recommended readings, this was not in the script, but I do want to start the show by just asking Marissa how your very important school readings are going, and if there's anything you've learned that you'd like to share with the class.
I think Liz is referring to the fact that I'm taking a class called Comic Studies this quarter. So I'm learning all about the comics industry, reading comics. I did a reading today. I learned about how comics are sold and distributed and like the history of comic production.
Very interesting.
I learned that Marvel only started I don't remember how it was really described, but marketing authors in their runs in the 90s, which was very interesting. Learned that today. So yeah, it's
learning
good.
Lots. Keep us updated as we go through the course together as a community. We're so excited to learn from you. And then we can say we have 3 comics experts on this show, and it's just me that doesn't know what they're talking about.
I haven't actually read any comics yet. That's not been on the syllabus yet. I think that starts.
No, you got to work up to it. You can't just read a comic. If Alexis has taught us anything as our resident expert number 1, it's that you can't just read a comic. You have to know what you're getting into. You have to make a deliberate choice. Am I wrong, Alexis?
I think Alexis would say you can just read a comic.
I think you can. But here's my thing. I don't think you can blindly walk around a comic book store and pick something up and read it and have a great experience.
Yeah.
And
I would say, as the designated chaos person, I would say you can just read a comic, but you probably won't enjoy it unless you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, I think one of the barriers to new people reading comics has been that there's so much breadth there, and if you start in the wrong spot, you feel like you're not involved because you know that you're missing something, and nobody wants to read something and feel like they're left out of the party. So it's just better to pick a character you like and ask for recommendations and start in some spot that's not like people dropping you in the middle of Civil War because they don't know what they're talking about.
That would be pretty chaotic.
Is that
It would be
But
bad.
I
If
feel-
people on the internet did that, it would be bad.
I do feel like on that chaotic note, we should transition to our favorite segment of the show. If it's your first time watching, if you're new to the stream, we'll let you know what's going on. But if you are a regular viewer, you know it is time for things to get pretty loud up in here. This is our rant game. We each have a rant from the past week about pop culture that we would like to share with you all. Some feelings that we've been holding in that, we feel like as a community, we really need to discuss. Everyone is going to speak for 30 seconds, and it's going to just rotate up and down the list until everyone's spoken for 2 full minutes. The rants tonight are spicy. Sly?
Can we change it so I'm last, please?
Yes, absolutely we can. So this will be the order of tonight. I will begin, and then we'll go to Alexis, and then Marissa, and then Sly. 30-minute segments until we have reached 2 minutes each. Let us know in the chat your thoughts as we
30
go.
seconds.
30 minutes.
I will kick.
No. It's an 8-hour show.
It's an 8-hour show. You all have to watch it. No, we're kidding. 2 minutes
I
in
cannot
full
talk
each.
about mine for.
I could. So let's kick things off with like what I could literally talk all night about because I am so mad that this happened. If you know anything about me, it's that like the cornerstone of my life is defending Taylor Swift. Like that's my full-time job. And if you know anything about this show, it's that what we love to do is call it when men are being problematic. And guess who decided to put his big face back in the Swifties narrative this week? None other than Jake Gyllenhaal recreating some red imagery for no good reason. And I'm real upset about it. Alexis?
I'm also going to talk about men making poor choices. So this week, Harper's Bazaar released their interview with Anna Tindler. And I've read it like 4 times at this point, and it was really fantastic, and asked her some really great questions about her art, and everybody else republished it by listing it as an article that was about John Mulaney's ex-wife rather than listing it as an article about Anna Tindler. We will continue later.
Marissa?
I don't know if this is a positive or a negative or a neutral rant, but I just want to discuss briefly the web of movie musicals of 2021 and how they all go back to Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Negative
They
rant.
all
Negative
go back to Lin-Manuel Miranda, including Dear Evan Hansen. You wouldn't think it would, but it does. And I'm going to draw the lines for you. We're just getting started, okay?
Conspiracy time.
We'll start with In the Heights, okay?
Slide.
So this week I'm talking about 911 Lone Star. Shocker. So they just started season 3, which with their arc about the ice storm, and this is their attempt to recreate the tsunami arc from 911 proper. And we'll talk about how it's going.
So Jake's photo, which I believe is for WMag, but like I could be wrong on that. I don't care enough to check the sources.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's him in this red button-up shirt that is like too small for his arms intentionally and slightly wet so you can kind of see through it. And heart-shaped sunglasses sitting on the top of his head, which is a reference to Taylor's 22 music video. Now we know from the re-release that 22 is a song she wrote because her 21st birthday sucked because of him. So him referencing the song that she wrote about her reclaiming her life because of him.
Okay, so this article kind of is separated into two main points that everybody's talking about, right? One is Anna's art and what she has done over the last year. And one, which everyone seems to really care about, is the fact that she's freezing her eggs because she implied that the choice not to have children was made to keep her partnership happy rather than a choice that she made on her own, which may result in the fact that she does have their child, Petunia.
Marissa.
Okay, so if we start with In the Heights, written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, Lin-Manuel Miranda is in the cast. Then we go to Vivo, that I think Fox Animation, I don't know, some animation that Lin-Manuel Miranda is in the cast of. Then that takes us to Encanto, which Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote the music for. Following Encanto, we go to West Side Story. Now, this is like a left turn, like what? Lin-Manuel Miranda has nothing to do with West Side Story, but he does.
Okay, so 911 with their season 3 beginning had an amazing impact on that show. It changed the trajectory for the story, and it was, so much happening, but it had specifically 2 different perspectives that we were experiencing that disaster from. And here for the ice storm, there's a million.
So if Jake was going to reference anything, the fact that he went for 22, like the music video, is such malicious intent. And I don't care if the photographer just put the glasses on his head and was like, this will be funny. Fans will eat it up. It'll get you so much press. I don't care. So malicious for him to go straight for 22's jugular. And frankly, I think it's a little thirsty, even though now there's all this PR of him being like, I don't care, I don't read. Yes, you effing do, Jake.
Okay, so the other thing we should talk about is the art, right? Which is not getting as much attention. But that she got her master's in costume studies, and she's now making Victorian lampshades, and that basically her photo diary of what the last year has been like for her has been super popular and has sold out super quickly, and that she has been doing that. Like the backdrop for that has been this house that she bought with John at the beginning of 2020, but has only ever lived in alone, which broke me.
West Side Story, you would think Lin-Manuel Miranda is not directly related to, because he's not technically, as far as I know, involved in the 2019 Spielberg movie. However, he did do the Spanish translations for the West Side Story 2009 Broadway revival that had some Spanish lyrics. Highly recommend listening to that album. It's very good. If you don't understand Spanish, you should probably know West Side Story before you listen to it. But anyway.
Okay, so one of the biggest problems with this season from Lone Star is that we don't know what's happening with these characters. We have no idea like where they are, which means that the full time I'm thinking about what the fuck happened during that break and not paying attention to the emergencies that are happening on the screen. And that is distracting and takes away from the impact.
You can't say you don't read the tabloids, that you're not following what's happening, and then do a PR stunt about that narrative. Those are contradictory statements. He is a liar, which we've been knowing. He is straight, like, disrespectful, which we have been knowing. I am so over him and the contradictory I'm the victim BS. His career is fine. Get Taylor out of your system. Let the woman live and make her art.
What was I gonna say? So basically she's making her house look like the Victorian dollhouse that she's always wanted to live in, which is great. But one of the things that I think that this article did really well, that the articles about the article did not really do well, is that there is this subtle passive aggressiveness in like literally every sentence of that article that really turns the story and highlighting Anna and all of the things that she has accomplished despite the adversity of being part.
So West Side Story, Stephen Sondheim takes us to Tick, Tick, Boom. Stephen Sondheim, Tick, Tick, Boom, directed and produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Screenplay written by Stephen Levinson, who wrote the book for Dear Evan Hansen. It all comes back around. Lin-Manuel Miranda has a monopoly on movie musicals. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's something we need to be discussing. He is everywhere. He's got his paws in all of the pots. It's all him.
Okay, so if they wanted to produce that same reaction that we had for the tsunami arc, they would need to have already established the character emotions so that we could connect with the emergencies that are happening. But they're so focused on trying to get a reaction and not focused on producing a quality story that we can connect with emotionally, and it's not working for them.
And I think Alexis was the only one that didn't quite get to finish their thought. So would you like to very quickly finish your sentence?
No, it's fine. Anna won. She got me in the divorce, and the Harper's Bazaar article is really great. And that's all you need to know.
Beautiful. I love that we have picked sides in the divorce. This is excellent news.
I want to add really quickly, 911 Lone Star is still my favorite right now, but we'll see how this season goes.
I'm obsessed with how 911 Lone Star is so like wormed its way so smoothly into the core of this show. It's so great. I'm obsessed.
Thank you, JJ.
And the most involvement I have is my deep passion for Rob Lowe, which we will discuss later in the show. But let's talk about WandaVision, because we are 1 year out. We are celebrating WandaVision tonight, even though we all forgot our merch, which is fine. Let's talk about kind of how we're feeling about the show 1 year later and some of our favorite moments from the past year. Marissa, I'm going to open the floor to you to start this conversation.
Oh my God.
I believe you have a game for us, which really adequately describes some of how you might be feeling.
I do. Do we want to just go into that, or do we want to get initial reacts?
Let's get right into it and get our
great.
reactions from there.
Throw it to the chaos.
For background, I didn't watch WandaVision until episode 6 was released. I had a lot of extenuating circumstances. I had COVID. I tested positive 2 days before the show came out. I tested positive on the 13th. The show came out on the 15th. I was not in the right headspace to start watching the show then. And I was very sick for a very long time. This was before I could be vaccinated, so I was very sick. Thankfully, never hospitalized, but very sick. So it took me a while to get there because I wanted to be like fully there for it, because you can't watch a new Marvel project for the first time while you're like desperately ill. So it took me a while. But when I finally did watch the show, I live tweeted my reactions and I tried to be as spoiler free as possible. And today I found this Twitter thread from a year ago, and I have taken all of the tweets, scrambled them up, and I'm going to make everybody try and guess what episode or like what moment the tweets are about. So here we go.
And we're going to be speedy because there's a lot of them. So read it, give it a second of analysis.
And some of
let's
them,
go.
I'll be honest, I don't remember what they're about. Most of them, I think I know the answer, but some of them, it's a mystery.
Ready?
All of it.
Yeah. I feel like this is finale.
I was gonna say.
Oh no,
finale.
this is only through episode 6.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking like in the finale when she comes out in the new Scarlet Witch look.
Witch, yeah.
Maybe episode 1. Just like right off the top, feeling it.
Anybody have any other guesses?
4?
Episode
Yes.
4.
Yes. It's the part in episode 4. I think it's in episode 4 at least. The part where she kicks Monica out, but from Monica's perspective, not the version that is like broadcast, where she's like,
get out.
and like,
yeah.
boom, boom, boom through buildings. I think it was that part.
Oh, I can't remember which episode.
Is this when Sparky and like that episode? And no. Okay.
They have a conversation about her accent. I just can't think of which episode it's in.
That was episode 7. That was the end of episode 7, I think.
I don't know. Slime?
I thought it was 6.
When is Trick or
The
Treating?
Halloween episode. 6.
6.
I will tell you, that is not when this tweet is from. And that conversation, well, there's 2 conversations. There's the Wanda and Pietro conversation about what happened to your accent. And then there's the conversation in the basement with Agatha where she's like, that accent really comes and goes. But this tweet is about when Wanda goes through the hex at the end of episode 4. And
I think that was called out in the chat, JJ, when she steps out of the hex and talks to them.
It's the first time she uses her accent in the show.
Brilliant.
The anger I had that it was not used in the first 2 episodes before I knew what was happening it was a lot of anger. There was so much anger.
I wish I could explain my face right now. A picture wouldn't do it justice. That is shocking information.
Just remember, this is only episodes 1 through 6.
This has to be when it's like revealed that Westview is like a town. And like when the reveals happen that like, these are the stakes of the show. I don't know when that moment was. That's my guess.
Was it the end of 2?
Both of those are
or
wrong.
the beginning of 3? It was like right
Alexis, what do you think?
I don't have thoughts. And I was thinking about the children suddenly aging, but I don't remember.
No, it was when Hayward showed the doctored footage of Wanda breaking in and stealing Vision's body that never happened. But at this point, I thought that was what actually happened.
So far, has anyone gotten any of them right? JJ?
No. JJ got 1 right.
I got 1 right. I got 4
right. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
Episode 4 right. Huh.
Not to be dramatic, but the show is so good, it's bringing me to tears. I don't mean I'm moved by emotion. I mean I'm crying from the overwhelming sense that I'm experiencing something incredible.
A beginning of one.
See, I would. For me, this had to come after 2.
I just saw how many different images there were of Marissa crying.
It happened pretty early on. Liz, do you have a guess?
I think end of 1.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Back in the game. Love it. Powerful white man ruins the party again. This has to be when the man choked at the dinner table, the boss, when he came over for dinner and ruined the dinner party. What?
Oh, see, I thought it had to do with Hayward.
It does have to do with Hayward.
Yeah, I just can't think of which part of Hayward it has to do with.
I still don't know any of the characters' names.
He's the white sword guy.
Is Agent Dude Sends the Drone?
No, it was
That's so good. I love that.
it was not that specific moment,
Oh,
but it was like I think it was around then.
oh
When
is
the
it
agent
when
says all the stuff in the meeting.
he
the
fires?
agent says
He's
when-
like, fire. And she's like, what? I thought it wasn't loaded.
No, it was after that, I think. This was when Hayward sends fires Monica and Darcy and Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Okay. There's like
And he's
so
like, and
many
which one of you
here.
is the sassy best friend?
Okay. Yes, bitch. Work.
Please tell me that's about Darcy.
No.
Damn.
There is one about Darcy, but I already told you that one. But
This has to be about an outfit, like a beginning of an episode reveal. Like, oh, like, here's how she looks. Is it the one that you did for Halloween?
no.
No. That was a good guess, though.
We've already talked about this moment.
Oh,
There were many tweets about this singular moment.
the good thing I have the memory of a goldfish.
I know. My brain is just like.
I am too ADHD for this game. I'm like, I don't know what happens in this show.
I've never seen this show.
Okay. It was when she walks through the hex and shows up
Oh.
in her full outfit for the first time.
Yes. Okay.
And
fair.
she's dragging the drone.
Okay, I think this one reveals itself, but I want to read it anyway. Cool. Just started episode 4 and I'm not okay. I'm actually physically and emotionally not okay. I can't handle this. You know how I feel about this. I'm trying to be spoiler free and it's very hard. Oh my God. So this is episode 4.
It is
Okay.
episode 4.
And it's very hard. Oh my God!
Yay.
Because it was capitalized.
But it's
Okay,
about
thank you.
it's about something specific. Do you know what specific thing it's about?
Okay, team in the chat here. Anyone got it? What happens at the beginning of
I
episode
that I
will give you a
remember.
hint. I feel like Sly should get this.
Did 911 Lone
It's
Star? Was that
about
one of the
party.
eras?
The Sly was too shocked to speak.
No.
I will remind everybody, this was my first exposure to most of these characters, and I fell in love with Darcy. She is all I remember from this show.
100%. But Sly, what up until very recently was your favorite MCU movie?
Yes, Sly. What until very recently?
Look at that, really know the answer to that. Yes, why?
Because I
I know
was a little
exactly what you're
dumb and I
talking
didn't know anything. I didn't know any of the cast members that were supposed to show up.
Oh, I think I know. But I don't want to say it in case I'm wrong. And then that whole dramatic thing will have been for nothing. So
I
why don't you
had
just say it?
not yet seen my favorite
Okay.
movie.
Okay.
So that moment did not hit me.
Can you remind
But-
me what your favorite movie is?
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Go.
I was thinking Age of Ultron, and we were about to have a very serious conversation.
The whole show is about to shift.
The whole show Okay. Oh, thank God. Okay, cool.
Is it
Continue. Sorry.
when
Age of
Monica
Ultron was the
unlips?
first
Yes.
movie I watched.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Good guesses from the
Mhm.
chat. I love this.
Yes,
Teamwork
it
on
was
that
when
one.
it was when Monica showed up and they played like all of the dialogue from Captain Marvel, and then they kept referencing Carol through the episode. And at this point, like I was a big Carol stan. Pre WandaVision, like Captain Marvel was the thing that like really got me like hooked 100%. I was
Mhm,
in
same.
on the MCU.
Yep.
So when because I didn't like. I thought the concept of this show was so dumb that I paid no attention to.
There's
the
a tweet about that.
D23.
There's a tweet about that.
There's a tweet about that. I didn't probably have to include this, but I just screenshotted the whole thread.
I can't believe I thought this was a stupid concept when I first heard it.
I think we all thought it was a stupid concept.
So like I didn't pay any attention to the like D23 announcement or like the cast beyond like Lizzie, Paul, and Catherine Hahn. Like I didn't care to know who Jimmy Woo was. I didn't care to know who Darcy Lewis was. Like they announced that Tiana Paris was Monica Rambeau before the show came out, but like I didn't know that. And so when I saw it, I lost my mind.
Okay. I have two more from this thread that I'd like us to get through. One is for Sly and one is for everyone.
Oh,
I don't really know
My
what Kat
favorite.
Dennings is doing, but I love it.
everything about Kat Dennings
This is like a
is perfect.
ghost written by Sly tweet.
Yeah.
Darcy is
Because
fantastic in
I
this
think
show.
I said something basically the same as that when I was watching. It's like, I don't know who any of these people are, but I'm in love with her.
Yeah, I had not seen the first two Thor movies, and I was like, I don't know who this character is. She just like showed up and started roasting people, but I am here for it.
Exactly.
So I really have a lot of opinions about the final one I want to pull on screen.
Oh no.
So can we have a long conversation about this last tweet? Which
It's
is,
your show.
why don't people talk about how jacked Paul Bettany is?
This is not an accurate tweet. This
But
is
you tweeted
factually
it. But you
incorrect.
admit to tweeting it.
I did tweet it, but it's factually incorrect. He was
This is
wearing
fake
a muscle
news.
suit.
Was he?
Yes. And I can tell you
Oh.
exactly when it is in the
It's
show.
like-
But
Well,
you
I
can
think
guess
I know.
you can
Wig
guess what
magic
prompted
all over
this.
again.
It's episode when they're doing the magic show. Because that's when oh wow, okay.
I, for one, this is not really about this tweet, but it kind of is. This was such an interesting show as a Marvel fan to watch in real time because, like my For You page now in adjacence to Daredevil, which is a whole ride, was this show, like my For You page was everybody like suddenly falling in love with Paul Bettany in the 80s. And I'm going to be real honest and say, I don't get it. Like I'm like, what? This is the man, like 80s vision, dad vision is now the man that we are simping for. That was like my entire For You page. I am still confused. I am still confuddled. Maybe it was because they thought he was jacked. But I'm still confused.
It was the beginning of let's pick a man from Marvel to hyper focus on together. He was the first one, and then it
That's the
just
one you
slowly
chose?
shifted.
That's funny because I completely missed that part of fandom.
I will say my For You page was
Not there.
entirely Mr. Jimmy.
Yeah.
Like
That's
everyone
where
was
I would
talking
have
about the
liked
card
to be.
trick thing.
But that is not where I got.
That's not where you landed, bestie. We have to talk about what your algorithm picked up about you
Special
that
Agent
put you
Jimmy
to.
Woo.
Yeah.
I know. I actually think the card trick is one of the most complete arcs in MCU history.
That's a great take. I support that take completely. You're so
100% correct.
For me, that is up there with how I felt about Jimmy Woo and the card trick is almost equal to how I felt about Tracksuit Mafia Bro and the Imagine Dragons. Like it's the same.
Yeah.
Could you not have given Clint an arc on the level of the Tracksuit Mafia Imagine Dragons guy?
You're so right for that. You are so right for that.
Maxu Mafia guy doing better in his marriage than Clint Barton is doing in his marriage. I'm just
Compare and contrast the following.
throwing that out there.
relationships. That should be like an SAT question. Let's determine if you get into Harvard based on your analysis of these two MCU arcs. Am I wrong?
No.
I'd like to thank Marissa for sharing her tweets and allowing us to deep dive with her. And I'd also like to thank her for this gift.
What? I closed the tab for
Your face.
All of the times you cried watching WandaVision. This is truly the gift that keeps on giving. I will be making this my lock screen immediately.
All of the like
I was
having to wipe
thinking
tears
about
on your
it.
glasses is my favorite thing.
Yeah. Okay, so I want everyone to say which Marissa they're feeling today based on this. I'm second bottom row on the left. That one. That's me.
Oh, I'm second from the bottom on the far right.
See, that's what I was. Oh no! What? Do you have a different bottom than me? I'm very confused.
The second from the bottom row.
Oh, so
The far right.
Okay.
Where it's
this one.
Oh yeah, thank you, Marissa, for recreating your own space. It's very, very
I
helpful.
would like to print these out and put them on magnets. You know how they used to do the things on your fridge where it's like how I'm feeling today, and you would stick the little magnet in the middle. I want them, but Marissa's faces. I am on the bottom row, this way.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Second from the right.
Yeah, second from the right.
Yes.
Marissa, which one are you
Love that for
feeling?
you.
God. I should not have sent this in the group chat.
It's okay, 'cause now we're all gonna have to make these. I'll do one of when I saw Mr. Arrows on screen. We can all compare and we can compare and contrast my reactions to that. I'll offer that to next week's show. Yeah.
I think I'm just like the center picture of me just like shocked clutching a pillow.
Yeah. I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
That was right after episode 8. Episode 8 destroyed me.
JJ is second row far right. Is that the one of Marissa being like looking back kind of one?
Oh, yeah.
By Alexis?
Oh,
yeah. I love that.
Oh,
Obsessed. Well, thank you so much, Marissa. We're so pleased. I'll offer my reactions next time. But I am so happy that a year later, your tweets still hold strong, except for the fact check on Paul Bettany wearing a suit underneath.
Yeah, I realized
about
2 seconds later, I was like, that's not what he actually looks like.
So I want to ask Alexis and Slide, like 1 year later, what are the reactions that you had that you're still thinking back on about this show? Good, bad, neutral, shocking?
Around episode 6, I started really hating it because I was experiencing feelings that I didn't like that reminded me of my past relationships that I started projecting onto the characters. And so I really hated it for a while. Now, looking back, I recognize that. And I'm much more positive now.
I love that growth for you. That's so fun. Love that. Alexis, what about you?
I think I need to watch it again. I really do, because I've only watched it the once, and it felt disjointed to me. I think because the first 2 episodes were so similar, they seemed to hold so much weight, and they didn't know what was happening. This was a different project for Disney. So it was like, and then I was not a huge fan of the finale, and so like those kind of pillars really shaped the way I viewed the show. And so I think if I went back and like just kind of watched the show again and focused on like the cool things, like the changing of the decades and the changing in acting and like the use of her accent. Like I said before, I was angry. When those first 2 episodes aired and she had no accent, I was like, I swear to God, if you whitewash a woman that you've already whitewashed, I'm done. Like I can't do this anymore. So I think I would maybe feel differently about it now. And I will watch it again after I finish rewatching the current show I'm rewatching for the 10th time.
I love that. Again, growth. We love to recognize growth. I still, to this day, have a memory of watching the show. That's one of my favorite Marvel memories, like of all time for me. And it was when this moment happened. This guy was revealed. So to set the scene for you, right? Like we also watched, I think a couple of episodes, like off the top. We did not start from week 1. And whatever the last episode was, like that we had like to watch, like we still weren't like that sold on the show. We were like, okay, we're gonna watch it the whole way through because like we're Marvel fans, but like we're not sure we're loving it. And then this moment happened and it changed literally everything. And this was the last moment we had before we had to start waiting a week to watch the new episode. So the context, and I'm admitting this because like I've understood and overcome my own feelings about gatekeeping here, is that I have not watched X-Men. I had no idea who he was. Okay, like no idea. I knew she had a brother. Like I knew that. No idea who this actor was. And my partner, this is his favorite MCU character, and I didn't know that because I hadn't seen X-Men. And we were laying together like on our futon, and he was kind of like at the back of the futon. I was like watching TV from like the front of the futon, and he jumped over me to the ground and grabbed the blanket and started whipping it in the air like a football fan. I was like, yes! And I was like, who is this man? Like both the one on my TV and then like the one beside me. Like, what is happening right now? And we had to pause the show because he was straight up so excited. He was so excited that we couldn't hear what was going on. I had no idea what was happening. I was like, it's Wanda's brother. Like, what? It's like, he was like, you don't understand, but not in like in a bad way. You don't understand, but like he had so many thoughts about what it could mean that he couldn't pick one to start with for me. He's like, you know, and it could be, and I was like, so eventually he calmed down and he was like, let me explain to you like one of the many things that this moment could be. It could be that like the X-Men are like coming in. It could be that like they've recast like as this person. It could be like remember they had all these different fan theories around like what this meant for the MCU, and he basically rhymed every single one of them off to me in 30 seconds flat. And I was like, oh, so that was like a really big reveal if you knew what was going on. I get it. So to this day, I fondly think of Wandavision because I think of that moment of pure like, okay, I really need to catch up and figure out what's happening in Marvel right now, because that was like a pop culture moment that will go down in history that just completely went over my head because I had no idea. And I still like to this day, we've had a couple moments watching Marvel movies that have been like pretty dramatic. Like when we were watching Spider-Man and Toby came on, he fell to the ground, just on the ground immediately. And I was like, you good? You good? You good? Are you good? You sure? Yes, Marissa.
Okay, can I say that was ruined for me on Twitter?
Oh,
the whole thing was ruined for me, and that was the moment where I was like, I have to watch the show immediately now, because like I don't know, like I was still excited. It was just the like first picture of the back of his head came up on my Twitter feed, and I was like, I know exactly who that is. No. And then I was like, I have to watch the show immediately. So but it was like, you know, it was the people who were like, it's safe. It's been a full week. We can talk about it. No, not for me.
That is the reason why when Loki came out, we watched it at 6 a.m. every release day. Like we would wake up, like no coffee, no food, like not ready for the day, holding our eyes open, watching Loki with like the sunrise glare on the TV, preventing us from seeing all of the details. Because I was like, I just need to know. I just need to know right now what's happened so it doesn't get spoiled for me.
I was trying to do the math, but Pip launched on week 4 of this show. And so I had just started a podcast where we were talking about, you know, games and media and everything we loved. And so all of my co-hosts were talking about this show, right? For weeks. And then the last week, I sat down, I think it was a Thursday night, and I started episode 1, and I just kept watching till episode 8, and then I had to wait.
That's a terrible place to stop.
For the last episode. But yeah, that was just an experience. Because again, before this, I had only seen Age of Ultron, and that was it. I didn't know these people at all.
Yep.
So that was like my introduction to the MCU. Crazy time.
Wait, Liz, can you put up JJ's comment about Pietro?
Accurate for this.
Fake Pietro walked so 3 Peters, No Way Home could run.
Could run, absolutely. Sorry
He
for the
opened the
Spider-Man
doors.
spoilers from
Ralph
me
Boner.
and from the chat.
Ralph Boner opened the doors for all of us.
Absolutely. Let's go from here and talk about like our WandaVision eras. Like if we were to be Miss Wanda and we were to be embraced by chaos magic, what shows would we call our own?
Liz, you have to start because yours makes the most sense.
But I've
Let's jump
changed
into
a lot of mine. I changed a lot of mine as I was setting up. So there's some here that y'all don't know I'm going to say.
I also thought, based on the way you pitched that, we were just going to name a decade we liked really fast. And I was all prepared to go on about how much I want to be pregnant in the 70s right now. And that's not where we're going. So putting on my new hat.
Would you like to talk about that? Is it something you should...
I was like, oh, I didn't know we were playing this game. Wow, I have so much to say.
That's so funny.
See, that's so interesting, Alexis, because that's my least favorite decades episode.
Episode. I was like, then you won't like my house.
I love your house. It's adorable.
It's not the episode. Okay, I want to start with a show that was on, I think, also Marissa's list, but it was on someone else's list, so I forget who. We can both talk about this, but the first show that if I was Wanda and like I was going back in TV time to an era to live in, I would be going to Schitt's Creek.
Oh yes, it's me.
It's me as well. I am Alexis Rose. Like that character is like comfort character 1000 to me. I do feel like I'd be going to Schitt's Creek, and like I don't know if I would like take the place of Alexis Rose and be Alexis Rose, or if I would like be alongside her and we would just cause chaos together. But to me, that is the fit of why my psyche would take me to Schitt's Creek. Also, Canadian, grew up in rural Canada. Like I know like this small town kind of vibe that this show picks up on. I feel like I really relate to that experience. So it's very much in the psyche. Marissa, do you want to talk about Schitt's Creek for you?
I think that's so interesting that you said you're Alexis Rose because I am David Rose.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like, okay, I feel like we kind of like glossed over this, but the idea of this was a Twitter trend during WandaVision, is that you like pick the shows that you watch so frequently or that you love so deeply that like if you spontaneously created chaos magic, these are the shows that the Hex would like throw you into. And I watched Schitt's Creek probably 6 times in a row within 3 months.
Yep.
Like I love this show very deeply. I have several quotes of it on my wall. And I am David Rose and I take that very seriously. And I think you being Alexis and me being David is pretty perfect. It fits us very well.
So do we need to now go do like Alexis David lip syncs on TikTok or like cosplay or something? Like, is that the door that we've just opened for ourselves that we need to be?
For
Maybe
me.
it is. Maybe it is.
If the people want it.
If
Bunky
the
is
people
saying,
don't want it, we want it for the group chat.
Yeah. Liz is like, people say you want it because I want to do
I
it.
would be like, everyone was asking us to do this, so I guess we have to.
One
I love
comment I
it.
planted myself would like us to do this.
Literally, like
what
quite
is the
literally.
what is the most iconic David and Alexis.
David and
audio.
Alexis.
I mean, there's
so many.
the start of season 2 where she's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't answer one text,
David.
But like, I feel like there's a better conversation that's just the two of them.
My
but I don't know what
favorite
the like.
conversation between them is the finale with the wedding dress.
Oh,
It came with a headpiece, David. No, that's a veil.
A veil. You're wearing a wedding dress to my wedding.
My wedding. Okay, let's leave.
We're
Schitt's
just
Creek.
gonna reenact all 6 seasons of Schitt's Creek right now.
Honestly, we should as a 2-woman show. I would buy tickets for that. I really would.
I've
Sly.
never seen the show, but I found a list for you guys.
Oh, beautiful! Absolutely. Everyone should watch Schitt's Creek. It's so good. Good Canadian content. Oh, and we have a list here from Sly. We'll look into it after the show. Sly, what show would you like to start with for your list?
So, I had an order, but I think I'm gonna change it. Can we start with Emergency?
Absolutely, if I can find.
It's the one that looks really old. And it's like 2 men. There you go, exactly.
Ooh.
If you've never seen the show, it's called Emergency. It's from the 70s, I think. We have a channel here called Me TV, and it just like plays a bunch of like old shows like I Love Lucy and the Andy Griffiths show and MASH and like all of those shows, right? And so back probably early high school, I saw Emergency on this channel and I fell in love. And this was the origin story for my obsession with medical drama.
This is it.
Okay.
I could make a full list for this game of only medical dramas. I didn't. You're welcome. But that show started my obsession with that genre.
And I think you have some support in the chat for this. It seems like a lot of folks would be interested in that full
I think
list.
they're talking about Dickinson.
Oh, about Dickinson.
But
I
They're
thought
talking
you were
about
talking
Dickinson.
I'm sorry. I'm like only half reading the chat, but I was like, we got a lot of people with you on that one.
Oh, you
surprisingly.
heard about this show. I was very...
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you like that like era of TV shows, it's great. It's there was some crossover with Chips. If you watch that, also a great show. But yeah, it's fun.
I love it. And speaking of fun, Alexis, the first on your list, I think, was like the most shocking to me.
How is
Because
it shocking you?
I didn't know that this was a show that was in
Iconic.
your core memories. But let's
Oh,
talk
God.
about Power Rangers.
Okay,
Oh,
Power
that
Rangers-
makes so much sense.
And like, and specifically Power Rangers Time Force. Okay, so we had like the show aired, but we also had the VHS movie.
Oh,
Because
beautiful.
they did like a big like movie launch to the show, and I was talking to my mom about this earlier. I was like, literally once a week I think about this show, and I am now 29 years old. Think about this show once a week because they like go through time, right? Because it's Power Rangers Time Force, and the Pink Ranger has to hold the Red Ranger dying in her arms because he's been stabbed by the evil villain that looks a lot like that really famous guy that's in Iron Man 2 that has the bad Russian accent. You know who I'm talking about? Look, the villain looks like that guy, right? And he kills the Red Ranger, and she has to hold the Red Ranger, and then she goes back in time and meets the Red Ranger again, but like they're not at the same point in their relationship, and she can't take out his killer because that would be vengeance, and it's Power Rangers. And
I feel like we're really doing free therapy on that show tonight because I'm connecting so many dots by this explanation. I'm like, oh,
just
nice.
everything to me, everything. Like,
You do
Power
have
Rangers
support
was, like,
for
my life.
Time Force in the chat. Like, it's happening. People are here for Time Force.
I have been trying to like track it down so I could rewatch it right now. And I think my best asset as a martial arts teacher to babies is that I am the only one in the building that knows anything about Power Rangers, which is hysterical.
That's incredible.
Pink Ranger holding the love of her life as he died, and she could technically go back and get him, but she couldn't because she's a good Pink Ranger and like,
So
Why does it look like there are 2 Red Rangers?
because of time.
Because one dies.
Okay.
She just explained that.
But why are they in the same promo picture together?
Oh, because it happens in the same movie.
Okay.
Like they're both in the same. They're in the same bit. Yeah, I mean it, and they have this really romantic, loving conversation about their marriage on like this balcony in the future. So it's all like, anyway, I will stop. But just know that show, Therapy Liz, that show changed
I get it.
my entire life, and I watched it as a small child. So like,
there we go. Core
that
like
makes a lot of
memory. I love it.
sense.
Everyone say hello to Bucky Barnes.
I also love that everyone was like, "Oh no, that makes perfect sense." Because now I'm trying to evaluate who I am as a human.
JJ, my siblings named me after Power Rangers. It's always my fun fact.
Amazing.
Look at Alexis's face.
The Alexis was too
stunned to speak.
stunned
The
to
woman
speak.
was too stunned to speak.
Okay, for me, the next place that I'm going is we're gonna do like childhood shows. For me, it's Lizzie McGuire, Lizzie, Hilary Duff. We're not gonna say it out loud, but if you know my name, you get there's like so many parallels between Hilary Duff, me, Lizzie McGuire, me. This show was airing when I was in elementary school, so the timing, like I was Lizzie McGuire for so many Halloweens. Like, it was incredible. I had, like, the dolls. I had the clothes when the clothes were coming out. Like, this show was my identity, and I loved it. And I still think it's such a good show. Like, this show really is so interesting and so well done, I think, and is such a cool time capsule of that era of growing up as a girl and growing into being a teenager. And I love it. And to this day, I was going to do it for Halloween 2 years ago, and then I couldn't like get the pieces all together, but I want to do the purple outfit from the movie, like when she's doing This Is What Dreams Are Made Of, because I know I can do it and could rock it. So perhaps Halloween this year will be the year I finally get my Lizzie McGuire cosplay on point, because I really do feel like this is me. So yeah.
I had a joke reference for Lizzie McGuire in my head that I was going to say when I explained why I wasn't wearing my WandaVision merch, because I didn't want to be an outfit repeater 2 weeks in a row, because Lizzie McGuire is an outfit repeater.
You're an outfit repeater.
Lizzie McGuire is an outfit repeater.
And like I am, especially in these trying times, an outfit repeater. Like, you give me a sweater with Harry Styles on it, I will wear this every single day. So very much also on brand for me. Okay, Marissa, where do you want to go next?
Let's stick with Disney Channel.
Let's do it. Are you thinking?
Yeah. My Lizzie McGuire is Wizards of Waverly Place. It came a little later, but I watched Disney Channel well into my teens. Alexis is holding her tongue because she believes that I am Selena Gomez. I don't look anything like her, but somehow in her brain she has an association that we're the same person.
Energy. It's not.
Yes, I agree.
looks.
Energy.
It's the first
the
episode
energy.
of Only Murders in the Building where she's cussing out old people with her headphones on in the diner. I was like, oh, my friend Marissa is on this show, and also she may be dating Chris Evans, and it will never stop. Like, it was.
Please tell the story. Please tell the story. Please tell the story.
Oh no, you tell it better than I do. But I was at, so some store. I can't remember where it was. And I saw this tabloid about Selena Gomez and Chris Evans dating. And it took me a minute because like my gut reaction was like, Marissa didn't tell me she was dating Chris Evans. And that's really offensive to me.
No, you told me your thought process was Marissa can't be dating Chris Evans because she's gay.
She's gay.
Not because I'm not Selena Gomez.
I was like, wow, that is a big piece of information I was not told. Yeah. And of course, the poor guy at the Walgreens like cashier was watching me like staring at this tabloid, like tampons in one hand, like what is happening?
Oh.
Marissa, would you like to publicly clear the record?
I am not dating Chris Evans.
And
I
is
am
it because
not-
you're not Selena Gomez? Or
I
is
am
it
not
because you're
Selena
gay?
Gomez.
Or is it because, like, what is the reason?
Well,
Yeah,
the number
Marissa.
one reason is we've never met.
Okay.
The number
That's a good
two reason is that he's 16 years older than me.
Oh.
The number 3 reason is that I'm not Selena Gomez. The number 4 reason is that I'm gay.
Thank you so much for making that clear for all of us.
Yeah.
I think we really needed it.
Just
Um,
to
In
just
the
to
group
round
chat,
up
and I was
the
like, I didn't know we could pick shows we were in.
So
Is
to
there-
round up the Wizards thing, I love Wizards of Waverly Place. I literally watched it last night. It was everything to me. It was everything to me. Like I loved Hannah Montana, but then when Wizards started, Wizards was like the half hour after Hannah Montana,
Mhm.
and then it filled the Hannah Montana slot when Hannah Montana ended, and I was so happy. It was the day Wizards came out was my birthday party. And I made my mom promise that my birthday party would end early enough so that I could watch the first episode of Wizards of Waverly
Brilliant.
Place.
Brilliant.
11-year-old Marissa was crazy. No, I was 10. But I love Wizards of Waverly Place. I would happily live in Wizards of Waverly Place. I think we all know that I would be Alex Russo because
Alexis would be Harper.
I've never seen Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah, I think
Harper wants to be the fashion designer, right? I'm right about
I
that.
haven't seen any of the shows everyone but me has mentioned. I've only seen my shows at this point. I've seen
Alexis would be
the
Harper, but
guy-
like with a really like cool like secret badass thing.
I
'cause,
just thought
like-
it was going to end with a really cool secret.
No, because Harper's
Secret
just
of
sort
me.
of like flaily and like
What's it gonna be?
what fly.
The guy that was in it was like the main character from Avalon High, and he was in Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah,
What's his
Greg.
name?
Greg's something.
Greg Sulkin.
That
Greg
guy.
Sulkin. Greg
Yeah.
Sulkin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Mason.
That's who
my
I would
favorite.
be in that
Oh, so you were
show.
saying me. I was like, I'm Greg.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And spoilers if you haven't seen
Mason.
Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yes.
Right
Spoiler.
back.
Mason Grayback.
Mason Grayback. I have a
Oh,
question.
he was a werewolf, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
I only know because Marissa did a video about it. Okay, continue.
Who got to keep their powers in the end of it? It's a
Alex.
spoiler if you didn't see the movie that came out like 15 years ago, but just I don't think it came out.
Alex won the. Can you see me? I'm freezing.
Yeah.
Alex won the wizard competition, and then Justin got offered a job to teach at WizTech, so he also got to keep his powers. And Max did not get powers, but he got the sub shop.
Okay. Thank you. I always wondered what happened. I don't know why that erased from my brain. Interesting. So Bunky's saying, basically what I'm gathering tonight is Marissa really, really likes TV shows about magical wizard families. Yeah.
I do.
That's a
Just
good
wait.
niche to
There's
have.
another one on my list.
I know. I'm thinking about the things on my list, and I'm like, nobody make those generalizations about me. I'm not prepared for them.
I also just think like
I don't
there
think
are other
if
just
people could make a connection with my
also just think with wizards, just like Liz, there are like real life connections for like the Russo family and my family, and like it's
a whole thing.
It's a
Bucky
thing.
agrees.
It's like it's definitely like the number one show that I would get like chaotically thrown into if I was Wanda. Definitely.
That'd be your first stop.
Yeah. For sure. It'd be like my origin.
I love it. Sly, where are we going next in your list?
If we're gonna continue with like the core childhood experience, we're gonna go with Avatar. And I will let you know.
This one?
Sorry. Yep.
It's small
I
on my
was
screen. Hard to tell.
Debating about whether I would pick this or Clone Wars. And I finally decided that I had a stronger connection with the Clone Wars animated movie rather than the TV show. So I didn't pick it. So I went with Avatar. And this show I was obsessed with when I was like, I don't know, like 7, 8-ish. I would watch it all the time. And I don't know if you remember, but back when they would do like the releases of the episodes, they would have little like speech bubbles with the like director's commentary, and I had memorized all of the commentary.
Oh my god.
If I was watching without the little speech bubbles, I could like comment what they said. Like I watched it so much. It was so ingrained in my childhood. I watched the first season of Legend of Korra when it first like released, and then I didn't watch it again until recently. And to watch all of it. I liked it. It's gay, so I liked it. But yeah, Avatar was just so ingrained in my childhood. So that's my pick.
Obsessed. Alexis, where do you want to go next?
Just down the list. Do you have the list? I think
I do.
Is next.
It's seeing if I click on the right thing.
Yay! Okay,
Ooh.
I don't know why I got so excited about this.
It's great.
This is Sue Thomas FBI. This was a Canadian show that showed on like what at the time my mother considered to be like the conservative channel. Like it was like that, like now I think it's like Ion TV or whatever, but it was like the quote unquote Christian channel at the time. And it is about a deaf woman who worked in the FBI with her dog Levi, and she signed. And this is the reason that I learned sign language, that I got involved in school and outside of school in learning sign, and that my mother let me learn sign. And it would lead to my long love of criminal procedurals, which would lead to questionable career choices. It all started with that show. And I was thinking about the fact that the Red Ranger, who I've always been in love with, which would also be like a bad choice ever, is like brunette and usually has the ability to unalive people, and that the romantic interest in this show is also brunette with the capability of unaliving people. We're going to move past that, but I'm kind of stuck on that because Sly was like Avatar, and I was like, oh my God, I love Zuko. And I was like, that is not the response I should have to that show. But anyway, Sue Thomas FBI is why I learned something. So it's important.
I need to add to that because my reaction to seeing Zuko was, oh my God, I am Zuko, which is worse.
Yeah, it was a great show, and it was cool because it was the lead character was deaf, and she still got to have this really cool romantic storyline, and she got to sign all the time and read lips, and people were like, Alexis, you can't just learn to read lips. Sign language would be the better thing to learn. And so I was like, okay, and that's what I did.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
become
also
the running
stuck
thing.
on being brunette people, because I also felt a strong connection with Elliot. I'm not going to talk about that.
I also feel like JJ's comment here about Mr.
Oh, yeah,
Barnes,
100%.
like, it's all connected.
We
There's
all
also
know,
voices
myself.
based on how many languages they speak, and I don't know many multilingual Red Rangers. Somebody, it's Voices of Atlas here. Somebody correct me on my knowledge of the Red Rangers. But I do know that Jack from Sue Thomas, he also learned sign, so he could speak multiple languages. And this will we can play the Where's Waldo game through the rest of the shows I list stuff from it.
I think the new thing, instead of always mentioning Alpine in an episode, Alexis is going to try really hard to not talk about how she's only attracted to brunettes capable of unaliving people who speak multiple languages.
So bad.
Add it to the bingo card. Add it to the bingo card. It's like if you're slowly building like an awareness of who Alexis is only by watching the show and no other interaction with her, like do not follow on any platforms. Like it's like, what do we know about Alexis? Alpine. This is her type.
She likes cats.
Yeah. But we're gonna learn more as we continue going down this list. And I'm really trying to speak because we could all talk about these shows all night long. So we all have so many to talk about. Next, I'm going to Ted Lasso. I am obsessed with Ted Lasso. Everyone, I know a lot of people love Ted Lasso, right? Like this is a show that is well beloved. Something about me that not a lot of people realize is that I am a football fan, like to the end of time. I'm Canadian and we call it soccer here and I hate it. Like I'm a football fan. Go Man City. Like my dream is to go to England and like just find a way to spend a couple weeks there so I can go to as many games as I can. World Cup is coming to North America in 2026 and I have already started saving money for tickets to go to the games. So Ted Lasso is like, I'm so happy that it's a part of like popular culture and introducing more people into football fandom and like the toxicity of it and like how like all the good things that Ted Lasso preaches. And specifically, if I was to go to this show, we need to talk about who I would be. Because go ahead.
Keely.
Keely Jones. Like that is where I would go.
Yeah.
1,000% for a few reasons. Like PR comms, obviously. So like I would love to be Keely. But Mr. Can't blow a whistle because he's allergic to precious metals, Roy Kent, is the TV love of my life. I am obsessed with Roy Kent for like no reason other than the way he says fuck. Like I'm obsessed with this man. If you watch Ted Lasso, you know that's his entire vocabulary. When Brett won the Emmy, like I cried. It's a whole thing in my life, like my love for Roy Kent as a character. So I am going to Ted Lasso. I am Keely Jones. I need season 3 immediately because I did not like where they left Roy Kent at the end of season 2. I know my opinion on Man City being my team. You don't pick the team picks you. Like my heart just landed there. Okay.
So much about you right now.
Man City is
perception of
interesting.
who you are as just.
I know it, and it's one of those things. Like I just like started watching FIFA like when I was a kid, and that was like such a big thing for me. Like under the age of 10, watching FIFA by myself, like in the living room, kind of thing. Like I played soccer when I was really, really young. If you're Canadian, you know. Tim Hortons sponsors kids soccer. It's called the Timbit League. And when you're like really little, you can play as a Timbit soccer player. So I was a Timbit soccer player, like, yeah, or football player, but with soccer here. Yeah, the team does pick you. Exactly. So Man City is my team. I love the sport. I love what Ted Lasso preaches. I hope that like it continues to open the door for more people to become football fans and to talk about all the issues in the fan community. And we will see if I get a Roy Kent jersey in 2022. Questions? Probably
I'm still
many.
stuck
Because
on Man City.
Manchester City, the team.
No, I know. I'm just still stuck on that being your choice.
I know. It's not the most popular choice, but here I am.
When have you ever picked the most popular choice?
So true.
Yeah.
So
Very
true.
true.
So true. Also, yeah, for sure. Okay, so that's my show. Marissa, next for you. And I think I'm very pleased we're finally getting to talk about Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, that was really loud. I didn't know what you were talking about for a second. Yes, we are. We can talk about
Sebastian Stan is in that.
He's in the
Sebastian
show.
Stan is absolutely in this show. What a mess of a show. But I love it so much. It's so bad, but it's so good.
Can I just very briefly tell you all I know about this show, and I promise it's short?
Okay.
We were stuck in a hotel room. It was on TV, and it was like a random episode of a random season. I couldn't even tell you, and I knew nothing about the show. And then I was like, is that a character? Is that what? And they're doing what? And it was like the most confusing time I've ever spent in front of the television, and then I never revisited it to figure out what was going on. So I'm really curious about everyone's thoughts about this show. I'm still living in that moment of being like, and there, and he, and they, and there. Yeah.
I
Oh,
watched the first few seasons, but that was it. And I know it went off the rails after that.
it went off the rails. I was there from the beginning. Yes, Once Upon a Time. I was there from the beginning, watched it every week, loved it. Even I watched season 7, which was the final season, and half the cast wasn't even there anymore. It was totally different location, different cast. One of the characters that had been a child the entire series was suddenly an adult, but everyone else was still the same age. Like, truly bonkers. But I was still there. Sebastian Stan, if we're going to have this conversation, is only in like 5 episodes. Oh, controversial. It is a very good look. It's like, it was between First Avenger and Winter Soldier. So it is sort of like it's like an eyeliner evolution of like him in First Avenger.
The eyeliner evolution of Sebastian
And then-
Stan is a topic we need to dig in on sometime.
And then him as
On
Jefferson
next
in Once
week's
Upon a
show.
Time. He has eyeliner. He wears eyeliner in this show. And then Winter Soldier with like the full like raccoon situation. It's fun. It is a very good look for him because it's like the first Avengers hair, but also eyeliner. It's great.
See if I can find a photo.
Gives me Jeremy Jordan
Mm-hmm.
vibes in
Mhm.
that show.
He does look like him in that show.
So who are you, Marissa, in your Once Upon a Time Westview moment?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like if we're going for Wanda like self-insert situation, I would be Emma Swan because like that's the main character. But I also sort of feel like I would be Ruby, she's Little Red Riding Hood. She's the sassy diner waitress who ends up being gay. But she like disappears for 3 seasons and then she comes back and she's gay and she's in love with Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. This show sounds
Okay.
ridiculous. I have a question.
Yes. Yeah.
This is-
That's not what he looks like on the majority of the show. That's just a flashback.
To
You
what?
gotta look.
That didn't answer my question.
I'm very confused as to how this is his best look.
That is not his best look. Look up Sebastian Stan Once Upon a Time Storybrooke.
Let me
What's
just.
up?
let
Sebastian
me
Stan Once Upon a Time better than what I just saw.
So, oh my
Like,
God,
look
Sylvan
at
Fox
what we
said I
have to
give off
work with
Regina
here.
vibes.
Like,
Yes, that
there's so
short
many
hair in the
variations.
cravat.
Like, look at
Short
this
hair
one.
with the cravat. No,
Who is he?
I'm
Okay.
like touching my screen.
This
like
one?
that's
Short
what I'm
hair. That.
with
That.
yeah.
That is also him on Once Upon a Time.
Is this the
So-
one you
And
were
he
talking
has
about?
a kid.
Yes, that is
It's
what I'm
so
talking about.
cute.
What you need to understand about Once Upon a Time
It
is
feels
that
very like Evanescence, but Bucky Barnes.
Look at
Yeah.
this one.
I just
yeah.
This
I
screams
love that
"Wake me up
episode.
inside." Wake me up inside.
every time he has a kid, it's immediately better.
It's 2012, okay? Everyone just put yourself in 2012.
It's true. I would have ate this up in 2012. Absolutely.
What you have to know about Once Upon a Time, if you don't know it, is that it essentially takes like storybook fairy tale characters and Disney property fairy tale characters and puts them in like modern real world. So they're it's storybook characters that are under a curse, so they now live in like the modern world. And they all live in this one town and there's no magic and they have forgotten their memories, so they don't know who they are. Like they don't know that they're these fairy tale creatures. And this one lady has to come and like break the curse, and it's great. But so what that absurd picture of Sebastian Stan with very long hair and a terrible wig is like the show is structured like half in modern times, half in the storybook world, where like you get like flashbacks to their life as these storybook characters. And he is the Mad Hatter. And so that is his like full Mad Hatter look. I will say though, he's the exception to the rule because Jefferson's curse in the modern world is to remember. He's the only one in the town who remembers that he is the Mad Hatter, which makes him go literally mad.
Bucky Barnes, who did not remember anything for a long time.
Yes. And he
Am I
has a
sensing a
daughter that he can't
parallel?
see because she doesn't remember him. It's a lot. Season 2. He's only in season 2, but it's great.
Alexa seems to have thoughts.
No, Marissa for me kept freezing on one screen and still talking on the other, and I felt like I was in the Matrix for a minute. It was
Oh,
very,
I'm
but I'm
sorry.
okay. I'm sorry.
I know. I was like, the more Marissa was explaining, the more you were like,
What is happening right now?
I'm obsessed.
I'm still freaked out over last week when I commented about a certain someone and everything switched places. So
Oh, it's true. We can't bring her up ever again in this show. It's like a new rule. Like we don't
she who
speak.
shall not be named.
She who shall not be named, and it had nothing to do with Harry Potter and everything to do with someone we won't name. You can go back and rewatch last week's episode to see what happened.
People are
Sly.
asking about the Peter Pan season. Can I just say very quickly, I did not like the Peter Pan arc. I did not like any of the Peter Pan arc at all. I didn't like anything basically beyond the first half of season 2, but I kept watching it all the way through season 7 because I love Disney. Okay, sorry, Sly.
It's all good.
I'm going to continue to expose myself for strongly relating to antagonist, queer-coded men. Let's talk about Downton Abbey.
Yeah, let's
No!
talk about it. Yes, I love this show.
We're gonna get
I
into a
love
fight.
this show.
We're going to get into a fight.
Why?
Sly and I had a
She
fight about this
hates
already.
Thomas. And I am Thomas.
And I have to say, I did, like, after we had this conversation, I went back, I watched some later season episodes. He's better, but I can't. I still can't.
You have to watch. It's like season.
I've watched all of it. I've watched
5,
the movie. I've watched all of it.
episode 6 or 8. You know,
Can we
exactly
talk about
the moment
how I just
that I'm
found out,
talking
like, last
about.
week that maybe.
you found
Can we
out?
talk about-
what?
Uh-huh. Can we talk about
What is
how
happening?
I just found out, like, last week that one of his love interests is Charlie Cox?
Yes.
What?
Yes, we can.
Like,
And
I
we
think it's
should.
the first season one, like the very first episode one.
Yes.
Lord Carl,
Yeah.
whatever his name is.
The Duke of whatever. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Talk about that.
It's a look for him.
It is. Sorry, Slide. Please
Uh,
explain why you need to be in Downton Abbey. I'm so sorry for hijacking the conversation.
That show. So, one of my best friends since like middle school and I were both like very deep in like obsessed with like Jane Austen and like all like different like period like types of media. And so Shelby convinced me to watch this show because it's her favorite show of like all time.
Mhm.
I immediately fell in love. It's the show that I watch over and over and over and over again. Whatever, like if I need like background noise or whatever, I just put on an episode. And I relate so strongly to Barrow.
Mm.
It's a little bit of a problem, but we're not going to talk
Barrow's
about
so interesting.
At least you
but
understand
we are going to
it's a
talk
problem.
about the fact that the first Avenger, Bucky, and Barrow from World War One look very similar.
Yep.
It's true.
Yep.
It
I'm
is
with you on that.
Not true.
I'm with you on that.
And that
It's not
makes
true.
me very happy.
Alexis, have you seen the show?
No.
You
need
should. You
to
would
watch
love it. You would love
I
it.
think I could be wrong, but I think that it was airing or it was becoming popular around the time that I was playing Lizzie Bennet and Pride and Prejudice. And so it was like, it was too much for me. Like I couldn't
too
do it.
much.
And so I just never went back to it.
It starts with the Titanic and goes from there.
You would
You
love
need
it.
to watch it. It's
1920
amazing.
4? I can't remember when the movie is. It's like 1924 something.
And can
it's like
we talk about how the
mid-20s.
music of the show, like the everything they build around it is
The
like
music is
even the lighting design, like the whole show is just built to stay with you and never leave your spirit. Like it sticks itself in there. It's like, no, you're gonna always think of me.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Love it. Alexis, your turn.
This is also on Sly's list, so I'll talk about it and then I'll let Sly talk about it.
It's time. Wait, well, let's just like hold on. You've been waiting for this moment. If you know this show, this is the show that you knew was coming. Get excited. Get your fingers ready to type. This is the show of all shows that is referenced the most that is outside of a Marvel property. It is time, finally, to talk.
Finally.
What, Alexis?
Leverage!
Yeah.
Oh God, I love this
What
show
picture
so much.
did I send you?
Ah,
Because it's not
It's the
that one.
same people.
no, it's the same
It's the
people.
same
It's the you said that one.
Let's use this one. Less blurry.
Is
Yeah.
that his real hair?
It can't be.
Well,
That
and
does not look like his
he
real hair.
Rose it long, but I think it was the way they filmed this. He had to have a wig for some of the episodes. It was
Eagle
It's
eye.
not-
I have a curse.
It's not important, Marissa.
I have
What's
a curse.
important is that I am Parker. Nobody gets to argue with me. That's who I am. I am Parker. And this show has meant so incredibly much
Liz,
to me.
I sent you one more.
I watched this show with my family when it was airing. We watched it like it was coming out once a week. We all got together and watched it. And then I would rewatch it in college. And that would start my yearly rewatch of Leverage. And then it got brought back for Leverage Redemption this year. And the first half of that premiered the same night that Black Widow came out, and it was a lot for my little nerd heart to handle. But it is, for those of you who haven't seen it, about a group of neurodivergent thieves
Queer,
neurodivergent thieves who steal things to help people. They steal things from 1%ers to help everybody else. And I'm making it sound boring. It's not boring. And it is written by John Rogers, which is really important when you see the rest of my list of shows. John Rogers, who would also be a brunette man capable of unaliving people, who I am also madly in love with. But what is funny about this show is that I fell in love with one of the characters when I was a child, watching it with my family, and I continue to love him and continue to not recognize that there was an age difference because I had loved him when I was a child. And I'm Parker, and Parker picks locks, and she climbs on things, and she doesn't understand people. And I don't know what else you need to know.
You have famously, just quickly, before I hand it over to you, Alexis, you have famously sent many voice messages about this show, of which one time you spent a long time explaining why we each very clearly identified with characters on the show.
I don't remember this at all.
I have a very core memory of getting an entire explanation about a character I did not know why I was that character. And that, maybe this actually happened on a live, because
it was a live.
It was on live. Yes. People were chiming in, being like, "Yes," and I was like, "I hope this is a good thing that I don't know this show."
I don't even remember.
100%. Liz is Sophie.
Oh, yes.
100%.
Yeah, you are Sophie. Yeah. And that's a good thing. Sophie's now, spoilers for Leverage Redemption, is now kind of running the crew. There are really great parallels.
Great.
But anyway, what's great about this show is that I got Sly to watch this show. And then I messaged with Sly to see which couples Sly liked on the show, and then informed Sly that they were wrong and sent them a bunch of fan fiction to pull them over to my side, and I was successful.
I had a strong opinion that
this is my claim to fame.
I had a strong opinion that Parker and Elliot were only
we're siblings
friends and like sibling relationship.
History would say they were friends.
And then Alexis sent me
I fixed it. It's okay.
And completely changed my mind. I stand by the opinion that if you don't have Hardison with them, they don't work.
It doesn't work.
But you need all three of them for a successful relationship. But yes, I am fully with you now.
If we don't move on, I will never stop talking about this show.
I just need you all, if you've seen this show, to know who I am as a person. I so badly want to be Hardison. Like, that is my life goals. But I know I'm actually Elliot. And it's fine.
And Elliot would be a brunette who speaks multiple languages, who was in the service, who also unalives people a lot. I think my favorite statement in Leverage Redemption, which really made me feel like Parker, was that there's this conversation in which one of the new characters is asking if Elliot and Parker were serious when they were planning somebody's murder, and Sophie points out that Elliot wasn't serious.
Yep.
Oh, Marissa. Oh, you're back. Sorry, you froze really badly on my end, and I was like, oh, there she goes. Too much leverage for Marissa's speech. No, I love this. And now I feel like we all need to watch Leverage together.
Yes.
When people want to do a Leverage watch party and introduce Marissa and I to the show, let us know.
We'll
so
do
we
it.
can all do it together as a team, as a Stark Radio community. Marissa, would you be down? Oh, you're muted, or I can't. What happened?
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you now.
Hello. I said sure. I'm here for the party.
Yeah, this might have to be a total. Yeah, the chat saying yes, yes. Okay, we will think about it and see what we can do when
need to
time is
find this.
permitted. I know we could talk about leverage all night, but for the sake of the show, let's like keep things moving. And Marissa, I'm gonna throw it over to you for a very niche hit.
I don't
Take
remember.
us to Doctor Who, the Pond Years.
Yeah. Okay. It's specifically the Pond Years.
I like
And,
how
like,
specific you were.
It's not even just 11. It's only the Pond's years. And it's really, it would only be River Song's arc. Because, like, the other episodes in those seasons I don't really care about. But this is like the arc of Doctor Who that I go back to and watch over and over and over again. And I know it's controversial and a lot of people have a lot of opinions about this run of Doctor Who, this era, the Moffat years in general. But it's when I watched Who live, like 11 was my doctor, Amy Pond was my first companion. Those were my years. And it's just what I go back to. And like, I know people have feelings about River Song, but I love her very deeply. And I think
That makes sense for you.
thank you. I think like within this, I would probably be River Song. I don't know. I don't really know where I would fit in this. Maybe I would be Rory. I don't think I would be Amy. And I don't think I would be the Doctor. But I don't know where I would fit really. But it's my like go-to sick watch. It's just like
That's
reliable. I know what's gonna happen, but it's still exciting. There's, drama, emotion. I cry every time Rory gets to hold the baby for the first time. It's,
Yeah. Comfort show.
yeah. And that is what WandaVision is all about.
Hell yeah. I have a lot of comfort shows. Like I have a couple left on my list that I would like to address, but I feel like the first place we have to go when we're talking comfort shows is hold on 1 second, please, everybody.
Oh,
Okay, I just
Chaos
want to say
time.
that everybody in the comments is agreeing with me that the Pond years were great and River Song would be me. Thank you very much. I feel great about that.
I love that.
And now Liz is back.
I'm back.
I
Next
don't
on my
know what it says about me, but I think my doctor would be 9.
That checks out.
See, my doctor was also 11, but I am one of those crazy, insane people that far prefer Torchwood. And we're not going to unpack that, but that was really my
I could
show.
see that. For
That makes sense. I did
I
watch
have never watched Doctor Who, so I don't know any of these references other than one of them
think I
was also
watched-
in Harry Potter.
I think I watched the first 2 seasons
Everybody
of
was
Torchwood.
in Harry
Were there
Potter.
only 2 seasons? I don't remember.
Love.
Of Torchwood,
Yeah.
there were 2 seasons and then it got bought out and they did another like little baby third and little baby.
Yeah, I didn't watch that part then.
Okay, well, I have nothing to contribute to that, so let me move to a place that I don't think anyone will
Liz is like,
contribute
please
to.
stop talking about
Let's
things I
stop.
don't understand.
I love being excluded. No, it's fine. I love that comfort show for you, and I wish that I could experience it with you and contribute. I'm gonna bring up a show that I don't think any of you have watched. Has anyone watched Parks and Rec?
Oh my god, what is that show? I've never heard of it. That's so crazy.
Oh, you were being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I have not seen that.
I haven't seen it.
This is our leverage, Liz.
This is our leverage. Let's do it. I love
Alexis
this
and I
show.
were like, yeah, never seen it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Glad we're not alone.
This show was not available to stream in Canada easily for quite a long time. So when it got put on Canadian Netflix, we watched it immediately. Like we got through that show so quick. And I love this show so much. The characters on this show I love so much. This is a show that like some people love The Office. Like I love Parks and Rec. It's my entire identity on the inside. Like I love this show. And specifically something I love about this show that I have yet to feel. There's one other show and it's on my list that I feel matches the energy of this. But I love Chris Traeger, who's played by Rob Lowe. He is so funny to me. I don't know what it is about the design of this character, but he just it's just he's the funniest character in the world to me. Like it gets me somehow. I love that character. And Rob Lowe is the only person who could have done that character justice. So I have to salute him for his work bringing that character to life. And it's not even that I find the character that important. It's just he's just so funny to me. Like it just connects with me. Anyway, I love Parks and Rec. It's such a funny show. If you haven't watched it, a lot of it did not, like not a lot of it, but some of it didn't age that well. But I think that there's a lot of goodness in what they did try to do with it and what they did try and show with it, especially about women in politics and showing like the barriers that women have running for office and such. It's a very good show. And there is a Marvel baddie in the show. Does anyone know which Marvel baddie from WandaVision is in Parks and Rec?
There are several Marvel.
Yeah, but I'm
Peeps.
thinking of one specifically from
Yeah.
WandaVision.
Everybody's fave. The reason for the season. The reason we're here today. One Miss Agatha Harkness, Catherine Hahn, playing an iconic political advisor, campaign advisor.
Who would you be in this show, Marissa? Like, who do you connect with?
I'm like somewhere between Anne and April.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, people would assume that you're April, but you are all Anne to me. Yeah.
I did the caricature test,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm Ben Wyatt, actually. The caricature test said I was gay, anxious, and a nerd. Like, literally every character, it was like, biggest nerd alive, extremely anxious, gay, nerd, gay, anxious. I was like, well, you got it.
So we know what Sly's saying is, like, at the start of the show, every week Sly says, hi, like, what I can't say it the way you say it, but what
I'm
what
a deaf queer person on the
On the
internet.
internet.
and you are an anxious queer person on the internet.
Yeah.
Who is not dating Chris Evans.
Who's not dating Chris Evans.
You know what?
I'm so glad we got
If
clarity
he's
on that.
interested, I'll give him a chance. But like,
You heard it here first. The door's open. Chris Evans, shoot your shot with Miss Marissa, Miss Bobissa. You could be Mr. Bobissa.
You could be Mr. Bobissa. Oh my god.
I would mostly be there for the dog, honestly.
God.
I'm obsessed. Monkey saying Ben Wyatt is the love of my life. I am literally dating a Ben Wyatt. My partner is a Ben Wyatt. So Ben Wyatt is also the love of my life, like 10,000%. And it was very funny when we were watching the show to be like,
That is you too. 100%.
so that's mine. Let's go to Marissa. I think you have one more on your list.
Does anybody else have one more?
Oh, I've got like there's
one
we've got
more.
like a
Three
random
more.
ones. We're gonna
Okay.
like rapid fire through them here.
I stuck to 5. Everybody else had 5 when
We
I
broke
made
the
my
game.
list, and then it continued to change.
6.
What? That's crazy. What? Who would imagine
Who
it
would've
would be
thought?
WandaVision? That's crazy. This is based. My list really is based on how much time I spend watching these shows, because I feel like that is a part of like how the shows got so like the eras, the style of each era was sort of selected. As we learned in episode 8, it's like what show, like it's like a comfort show, but also a show that like you go back to a lot. And I have watched WandaVision at least 15 times all the way through.
Wow.
Like, I watched it probably 5 times just while it was airing. And I started at episode 6, folks. Like, I finished 1 through 6 and I started watching it immediately again. Like, and that's like all I watched for 3 weeks. I don't know. I don't know. It's just like
So where in WandaVision are you? Like, are you inside of Westview or are you like on the outside trying to like get Wanda out of there?
I think I would just be Wanda.
Oh, you are Wanda.
Like, I think that's the game of the show. Is like,
Yeah.
I think I would just be Wanda. I don't know that I would really want to be Wanda, but I think, like, you know, you can't really control chaos magic. It's chaos magic. And I think that it would be like, it would do the little calculations of like, how many times have you watched this show and be like, well, absolutely, you're going to live through WandaVision. And I feel like
meta,
it's kind of
WandaVision as your WandaVision.
I know. I feel like
Yeah.
it's kind of cheating to put it on the list, but it's just like, it's just true.
I love it.
Honestly, I could have also put Falcon and the Winter Soldier on this list. Everybody here knows I watched that many times. I don't know. For a long time, I was a comfort film person, but now I've become a comfort limited series person. And so I rewatch like 1 episode or 1 season of television or like 2 seasons of television. Or a limited series.
My list would be
there were so many ideas I had to be like, oh, that's a movie. Oh,
This cracks me up because my list of TV shows was like 18 shows long. Like, I cut out some shows I watch multiple times a year. Just funny to me that for you all it's movies. For me it's TV.
Yeah. I think the only other show that would really be on my list would be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, honestly.
Good one.
Yeah. I love WandaVision. I watched it many, many times. And that is the end of my list.
That's the end of the list. A round of applause.
Thank you.
I want to go back to Alexis's point, and I want to call out you specifically because I was so surprised that you did not share one of the shows that I put on my list because I
didn't have room for it.
So let's talk about it together because if Alexis and I are anything, we are Blair and Serena from Gossip Girl. And if you needed to know anything about our dynamic behind the scenes, it is we are Blair and Serena from Gossip Girl. Gossip Girl is like when we like you talk about the show like you've watched WandaVision 15 times. Like I've probably watched Gossip Girl 10 times the whole way through, not counting the odd like season I binge. And I've said this story before in the show, so I know I'm repeating myself here, but I did not clue in until the 3rd time that I was watching the show the entire way through that Sebastian Stan was in the show.
That's the only reason I watched it.
We've had this conversation. I've watched several projects without realizing Sebastian Stan is in it. So he's just a chameleon. He's just a chameleon. It's fine.
The shock on my face when I realized that I had opinions about Sebastian Stan I did not know I had.
Who was also as Serena love interest.
When I tell you the shock on my face when I realized I had opinions about Sebastian Stan that I did not know I had. There's lots to unpack.
My question is who am I and Marissa in that show?
Have either of you watched Gossip Girl?
I just watched it like last year.
Right. Okay.
When I was going, I watched all of the Sebastian Stan things.
Yeah. Who do you think you are on Gossip Girl?
That's a good question.
I'm currently holding my What Would Blair Waldorf Do pencil.
I I don't want to say it.
Say it. And I'm gonna.
Dan.
If you could say Chuck
Can you say
Bass,
Dan? I was gonna say your Dan.
No, I was gonna say Chuck.
You say Chuck Bass, you swear to God.
No, you're not. You want to be Chuck maybe sometimes.
I don't want to.
Who I
No,
would say
no, no.
has nothing in common with brunette men that are capable of unaliving.
No, I watched that show and I hated him the whole time. And then I got to the end and I go, fuck, am I Chuck?
He's just misunderstood, okay?
Oof.
That's not a conversation I have time to unpack with you right now. We'll take it off
I've never
air.
watched it. I only know the names Blair, Serena, Chuck, and Dan. That's all I know about the show.
Here's the issue with the show.
And
It's
Taylor
really-
Momsen, which I really don't want to
Yes.
be. Please don't tell me that that's me.
I was shocked by the ending of the show.
The issue with Gossip Girl is that
Oh, I also
the
know how it is.
writers kept changing who they were agreeing Gossip Girl was going to be at the end of it. It was not consistent the entire way through the writing. And that really affects the way the character arcs ended up going, because some characters became important and then disappeared into thin air. Some people had arcs that just like never ended and were forgotten about throughout the series. So it's really hard to say which character are you, because so many characters suffered because of the way that the writing was approached. And the writing on the show is like not always fantastic. I would say it's fantastic like some of the time. But that's kind of my thought on like, it's really hard to say. Like, I wouldn't even say like I'm Serena. I'd say there's moments where I'm like, oh, that's really funny. I relate to that. I wouldn't say Alexis is Blair. I'd say you're Blair a lot of the time, but there's some Blair moments I'd be like, that's not Alexis. So Marissa, I don't know who you would be, but you're not Jenny Humphrey. Or
Do you
are you
have to
Jenny
wait?
Humphrey?
No.
Are
Maybe very end, Jenny. But
But only in the sense of like, she's kind of like, I'm going to figure out my path.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
I don't know what
know.
any of it means, so you can tell me anything, and that's fine.
JJ making a really good point that the Netflix summary of this show is amazing. It's ridiculously attractive teenagers do terribly awful things to each other repeatedly. That is how Netflix describes this show. And it's
And drinks a lot of alcohol, incredibly underage, just like at bars, casually.
so much alcohol.
But I will say the Blair. So I went for Halloween as Blair doing the striptease at the speakeasy. That was my Halloween costume.
that is so you.
Iconic.
And you had that in your closet. Like, let's be clear.
Well, I hand beaded the dress, but yeah, I had the rest of it. Because she like takes off the bow. It's a whole. That is totally me. Like that is. I have had that moment where I'm like, oh, you really don't think I'll do it? Okay, I will do it, and then I will go to confessional, like at a Catholic church, and I'm not even Catholic, and I'm like, just because I get to wear a hat with a veil, and it's really dramatic. Anyway, we can move on from that.
Has everyone seen the TikToker that's doing the series singing It's a Wonderful World, or it's What a Wonderful World, but one letter at a time?
Yeah, it
It's
just
the-
finished.
It just finished. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go on TikTok and search What a Wonderful World. That's the name of the song, right?
Mhm.
I'm not crazy. Yeah. The series takes you on a trip. But my point is that creator did a video. If you go way back before the series even started, it used to be pinned on their profile and they unpinned it. And it's this moment in the show where where Blair brings security to Chuck's loft. And Chuck's like, you brought security to my apartment, and it's very funny. And when you were talking about the striptease like costume, all I could think is about how you're trying to find a Chuck Bass that'll be like, you brought security to my apartment. That's like such a niche hit, but if you go find that video, you'll understand. Also, that creator is literally brilliant, and I want to talk about that series literally forever because it's so interesting. Oh, Sylvan, I think, is ratting you out in the comments here. I would say she is. She def has Blair moments. No one ever asked for ID.
This is because Sylvan has been in my life for a really long time. And in fact, bought me the set of what would Blair Waldorf do.
So we know. Thank you, Sylvan, for validating that for all of us. I really appreciate it. Sly, you have one more on your list.
Oh boy.
Here we go, folks.
This is another show that I was waffling between two shows for what I was going to pick to represent that time in my life. And it was either H2O or Dance Academy.
Yeah.
Both
And
Australian,
I
right?
both of them are from Australia. I decided on Dance Academy. This show it existed at a time in my life where I was experiencing not exactly the same thing, but very close. Yeah.
We can leave it there.
If you've seen the show, you know what that life is like. But competitive dance with a focus with ballet is very interesting dynamic in the dance world. And that's something.
That is something.
I'll leave it
That's
there.
something.
As we are all former dancers. That is something.
Yeah.
So we can leave it there, perhaps, and let.
Have you all seen that show?
I've seen an episode and I was done.
That's like when I was younger, that was one of my comfort shows that I would watch over and over and over again. It was not good for my mental health, but it's fine.
It's something.
It's like very like over the top dramatics about growing up in like a small town and going to like a fancy dance school. And that experience. I didn't go to the fancy dance school, but I grew up dancing in a very small town and experienced competitions with the fancy dance schools. So, yeah.
I love that era for you.
It's something.
It's something. Okay, we're coming up at the end of our second hour here, so I want to make sure we don't leave any shows behind. And Alexis, there's a couple that we're going to whip through really quick. Are you ready to finish your list?
Yes.
Let's start with...
Oh, this blurry. This is Eureka, which everybody should watch, which is about a small town full of super geniuses that work on projects for the government. And every week a project goes terribly wrong. And Ed Quinnen, the love of my life, is in it. And I both aspire to be Nathan Stark and am madly in love with Nathan Stark. The first series was co-written by John Rogers. So, there you go. It's a good show. I recommend everybody watch it. It's on Sci-Fi. Timeless!
That's what she looks like.
There's another picture that I sent you from Timeless that I need you to put up. Yay!
Sorry, I've been reading a lot of fics about this show with never knowing what these characters look like until Alexis started sending me pictures, and I had to be like, oh, that's what they look like. Interesting.
Yeah, and I realized the other day I explained Flynn and Wyatt for you and did not explain Lucy because in my head I am Lucy Preston, so I didn't think it needed explaining. But anyway, yes, I'm Lucy. That's me. That man happens to be a tall brunette man that speaks multiple languages that fought in a couple wars.
Bingo! Bingo!
Well,
you mentioned it 5 times in one show, I think.
At least.
Okay, so it's one of those shows that was hurt by the fact that it was a network show. I think if it came out now and it was like a streaming show, they could have done a lot more. They could have delved into some of the topics, but it received multiple awards from the Smithsonian for being historically accurate.
Wow.
And it's a show where a misunderstood brunette man is going across time and occasionally killing people and messing up history. And so a very smart brunette woman has to also go through time and meet him and fix history. And there's a conspiracy, and because a bunch of evil white men want to mess the world up. Yes, Sly, you had a question.
I was gonna ask what the plot was. I've
There we
only
go.
read AUs.
Okay, so the important thing is that it gets really timey-wimey. It's a time travel show, right? Spoilers for Timeless, if you haven't seen it. And I'm not going to spoil too much because I know Sylvan is here and Sylvan is watching it with me. But the thing with Timeless is that Garcia Flynn, who is Goran Viznik, has a journal from Lucy, but Lucy hasn't given it to him yet. He gets it at some point in the future. And so he is following the instructions in this journal.
That also happens in my favorite arc of Doctor Who.
Okay, is following the instructions in this journal to take down the evil organization that unalived his family. But she doesn't know any of this because she hasn't lived it yet. So she is with the team that keeps going through time to stop him. And eventually they reconcile. And that is all I can say at the moment. Also, I want to be Garcia Flynn's mother as well. So it's a complicated relationship. But my love for that man is it's a lot of love. It also works better if you assume everyone is queer. Continue.
Continuing your last stop in your WandaVision train.
Okay, my last stop is the Black Tapes, which is technically a podcast, but it got bought by HBO to be turned into a series, and we just haven't seen it yet. But I also loved both Ghost Whisperer and X-Files, and so this is kind of like a culmination of those to me, where Alex Reagan, who I may or may not identify with, goes on this journey with this tall, older brunette man who speaks multiple.
Cheers, everybody. Drink.
I have not
Drink.
yet listened to the Black Tapes. It's on my list.
So
But
good.
have you listened to The Big Loop?
No.
You should. It's
Okay.
also by Paul Bay.
And Paul Bay's involvement is important
Amazing.
because he is besties with John Rogers, who consulted when they were developing the Black Tapes, which may mean that the same two men have created all of the male leads that I'm in love with, but we're not going to take that apart. Except for the Red Rangers. Neither of them were involved.
They weren't?
Creation.
Are you sure? Like, is that confirmed? I think that's worth investigating just to make sure. I'm obsessed. I love this list for you.
This was my game.
It really was. I feel like we could do 12 episodes of just walking through all your shows with the exact same analysis for each of them.
Yeah, it would all come to the same conclusion.
Some of them are a little similar, okay?
I have one more stop on my train that I'm on in my WandaVision train. And it was not in the list. I remembered it at the last second because I always forget how much I love the show because it makes me cry so much. We're ending our journey at The Good Place, which is, to me, I would argue forever that this is the best finale of any TV show ever. And the biggest crime of the Emmys is that The Good Place did not win for writing in its last season. It was so deserving of writing, like the writing Emmy for outstanding writing. The last season is one of the most brilliant pieces of writing I think TV will ever have. I think this show is going to blow up in the future the way that like The Office had a renaissance, the way that like all these shows kind of come back and take on a new life. I think The Good Place is going to be the show that the next generation says, like, why did y'all not treat this show with the respect it deserved at the time? If you have not watched it, just trust me on it. You will fall in love with Manny Jacinto, who is top left here. You will fall in love with his character. You will fall in love with the twists and turns. It is the afterlife on a completely new exploration. The finale will make you sob a million tears. There's no way you will not fall in love with the show. It's like a guarantee. They get you so good. It is so well done. I have yet to not successfully convert a fan of this show. I recommend it to everyone, and everyone who does watch it says it's one of the best shows they've ever watched. So, see, Riley, Good Place, fave show. A perfect show. It is a perfect show.
It is a perfect show. And especially, honestly, right now, everybody should be watching it. Like,
gives a lot of peace in this era, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you also cry at the finale?
I cried like the whole last season.
Yeah.
The
day
episode
of
with
the
Eleanor and her
finale,
mom. Yeah.
the day the finale came out, I was like watching it live, and I had it recording on my TV.
Mhm.
So I watched it live, and then I watched my recording back twice as soon as the finale ended. And the finale was an hour long. And I started crying 15 minutes into the first watch, and I did not stop until an hour after my third rewatch was complete. That gives you any indication of how heavy and how beautiful it ends. And there's also, if you're into podcasts,
I was gonna say, did you listen to the podcast?
the podcast is great. Do you want to pitch the podcast?
The podcast is great. They go through every single episode. It's produced, the show is an NBC production, and the podcast is produced by NBC. And they go through every single episode with cast members and creatives, production crew members, and they talk about what it takes to make an episode. They talk about, the show is about morals and ethics, moral philosophy. And so they talk about like the actual philosophical teachings that they're, discussing within each episode. And it's just a really good podcast. It's just called The Good Place, the podcast. And it always ends with Mark Evan Jackson saying, go do something good, which I just love.
All I know about the show, I know from another podcast called Empty the Cues, where Will Williams introduces their friends to shows that they love. And one of them is The Good Place. And I had to look it up. They have episodes until season 1, episode 8. And so that's all I know about the show.
I mean, that's a pretty good entry point because the end of season 1 is absolutely bananas. And something else that's really cool about this show is that if you want something to take over your life, you can watch the show at night, and then while you're when you're not working, and then when you are working, you can listen to the podcast about the episodes that you just watched. So you can just never leave the show if that is your choice. You can just constantly have it in your everyday. Alexis, I'm looking at you specifically.
I never do that with anything ever.
And it's only 4 seasons by design, like a neat little
Like
package.
Schitt's Creek, a great arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, 4 seasons by design. Maybe Crazy Ex-Girlfriend should have been on my list.
I really enjoyed that show.
Just like not even like as a show that I rewatch a lot, but just like I would be the one to want to live inside a musical. I
was
surprised that Smash wasn't on your list. I was hoping you would take that bullet for me.
I did consider it, but like I as much as I loved Smash, I had a lot of problems with it, and I don't think I would actually want to live in it.
That's right.
Let's do a stupid rapid fire shows that did not make the cut. Like no explanations, just the name of the show. We can go around and see how many we did not make on the list. Alexis, do you want to start?
No, because I'm going to need a second to put them in
Okay,
my brain.
collect yourself. Okay, my show that did not make the show, and I have a graphic uploaded for it, but we didn't not talk about it, was Saved by the Bell. Sly?
Oh gosh. I mentioned the two that I was considering.
You can mention it again.
The Clone Wars and H2O.
Marissa?
Yeah, I've talked about a few already, but the chat was talking about Dickinson, and I came to it very late, but again, very short by design, only 3 seasons. It is so weird. I'm sorry, I'm giving a lot of explanation. It is so weird, but so good. Highly recommend, especially if you liked WandaVision. And Haley Steinfeld. So if you like Hawkeye, watch it too.
Alexis?
Oh God. Okay, so the X-Files, but I didn't put it on the list because I don't know that I actually want to live in the X-Files. But the X-Files was like completely changed who I am, like the reason I am as a person. NCIS, which I didn't put on the list for the same reason, but I am Sloan, and nobody's going to take that from me. Covert Affairs, which influenced most of my career decisions that my partner and I still reference on a daily basis because there's a Russian pet name that's not Russian, it's used its whole thing. And Fringe, because I am Olivia Dunham, and I think that is the best alternate universe show, and that everyone should live in that show because it would be awesome. And I'm sure, Arrow, because I named my cats after it. And I rewatch these shows all the time. That's how I like deal with life. So there's a bunch.
I forgot I made a full list of all medical trauma.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Please put the list on your Instagram story after the show. Like, I'm begging you.
I can do it quick. It's Station 19, The Night Shift, The Resident, New Amsterdam, and 911 Lone Star.
Lone Star.
See, I was a big Chicago Med fan.
I've only seen up until I think it was like Fire 5, PD 4, Med 3, and Justice that season.
Oh yeah.
The guy that plays Tommy Merlin on
I took
Arrow.
a break, and then I never went back.
He was on it, and I named my cat after him, so I watched it for that.
Obsessed. So many things to watch. The next week, I think we might dig into some other like movies and things that we think deserve some love, and so much Marvel news and things happening too that we will dig into over time. Quickly, like Eternals launched this weekend, Disney Plus. Sly, are you doing okay? Being able to watch it 24/7? How many plays have we gone through in the past few days?
So I've not watched it yet. I did the scrub through of the not legal.
Yeah.
And I've not had like the time to sit down and just fully watch it. Like I've been doing other things while I'm watching things, so I haven't watched it because I need to sit down and just experience that. But I'm so excited.
We got one watch through complete. I saw my man's on the screen once again. It was great. It was a great moment. I'm very happy to have it on Disney Plus. It did not change my ranking. I thought maybe watching it I would have a different opinion of it, but it stayed exactly where it was in my rankings for last year's projects. Marissa, did you watch it?
I have not watched it. I've been watching Daredevil, but I got to the point in Daredevil where I'm supposed to be watching other things and then watch Defenders and then watch season 3. So I'm taking a break from Daredevil because it got to be a lot and I'm not prepared to watch the rest of the Netflix things right now. So I don't know. Maybe I'll watch Eternals tomorrow. Just switch things up. But I have not watched it yet. I am excited to though.
Alexis, have you rewatched Eternals since it dropped?
No, because I've been rewatching Timeless. But I've been forcing my friends to watch Timeless. But I will say that the Marvel Instagram keeps posting my least favorite clip from the whole movie. Which is the beautiful, well, he doesn't sign it. That's why.
Oh yeah.
Off. But the beautiful, beautiful Makari, do you miss me? Where then everybody is like, what is this?
I will say there's a comment about Jessica Jones, and that is a show.
Period.
I had to pause
That is a
like,
show.
every like few minutes to take
Mhm.
a break, walk away. It was
A lot.
very triggering. It's a lot. So just be prepared for that.
But Eternals, we could talk about all night long.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking a break from the Netflix universe for a moment, because the general physical sensations I've been experiencing are not ideal. So I'm just gonna take a step back for a second. But let's talk about Eternals.
I want to warn people because I watched Jessica Jones season 1 was
let's
very
just
triggering.
blanket
And
cover it for now, because I don't want to, like, we're running out of time, for instance. So like we can just tell people watch at your own risk.
I just want to warn people that the end of season 2 is also a lot. Just be ready for that, because I wasn't, and at the end of season 2 it was a lot and I wasn't ready. So if or when you watch it, be ready for the end of season 2. Just
totally
let you all know.
Good thing, absolutely, to let people know. We are at the 2-hour mark, so thank you to everyone that joined us tonight. We have to get better at like not keeping everyone all night long. And for those of you watching the replay, thanks for staying with us for the past 2 hours. This has been a really fun way to honor 1 year of such a fabulous Marvel show and one of our favorites here on the show to talk about and bring back. And maybe we should think about doing this for all of the 1 year anniversaries coming up, because obviously we're going to have a lot of Marvel to talk about as we get to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we get to Loki, and we're thinking about what those look like a year later. And with all the new projects coming out like Moon Knight and Miss Marvel and all this insane news about what's happening with Doctor Strange and casting and all of these things going on, we will keep talking about it and breaking it down over the next few weeks. But for now, we are breaking it down on our Instagrams, on our TikToks, every day, every week. So everyone, where can people find you? What are you talking about right now? And what do you got going on that you want to plug? Marissa, do you want to start, since I always come to you last, it seems? You're always in the bottom corner of my screen.
Okay, sure. I'm Marissa at Miss Obobissa. You can find me at Miss Obobissa on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. What am I talking about recently? I just did 2 episodes of the thing where I talk about hair in the MCU about Yelena. I now, because TikTok won't give me the playlist feature, I did it myself, and I made a master doc of all of the episodes of the thing where I talk about hair in the MCU, so you can find that from my link tree. I don't know what I have coming up next, just sort of wherever the wind takes me.
Love that for you.
I'm reading comics for school, so maybe I'll start talking about the comics I'm reading. I don't know.
It's about to be Miss Obobissa reads comics. Love that for you. So excited for this journey for you. I love that journey for you, as Alexis Rose would
Thank
say.
you.
Speaking of Alexis Blake reads comics. What do you got going on?
I talk about comics and cats and the MCU. On my Instagram, I take cool pictures because I want to be Anna Marie Tindler, and I explain Timeless to my cat. So you can join me for that.
Good.
But on TikTok,
really
I'm
good.
just talking about comics and the MCU.
And you just started a new Picking the Comic Book Off the Shelf series, which I'm a big fan of. I really enjoyed that.
I revived it. It was an old series, but I kind of let it. So I brought it back. Yes.
And I'm so happy you did, because it was so fun. Sly.
You can find me everywhere on the internet at SlyCloneMC. That was horrible spelling. SlyCloneMC. And everywhere at Point in Progress.
Love. And I'm producer Liz. I'm hanging out on Instagram and TikTok at producer Liz. We announce the show when the next show is happening on our Instagram stories first. So if you're wondering when the next live is going to be, head over to Instagram and we'll all have it up on our stories when we figure out our schedules. Right now I'm talking a lot about a lot of different things. I've got some One Direction videos coming down the pipeline because of this guy and everything going on in his world. I've got some commentary coming around like Get Ready With Me, so if I can get my act together and film when I'm actually getting ready. And I have something else I wanted to say and I'm blanking. what was it? What would I have? Oh, I remember because it's very important and it has to do with Sylvan's comment in the chat. I know nothing about Moon Knight, and I'm going to ask Alexis to educate me on the show live.
Live?
So
I don't know if I can do it live.
in general, I'm going to be asked to be educated on Moon Knight from the comics. But what I can confirm I am is absolutely insufferable about Oscar Isaac.
Everybody get ready.
I'm insufferable about this man. I love Oscar Isaac. I think I'm going to not get into it in this moment. But there's going to be a lot of Oscar Isaac commentary coming very soon across all my platforms and the show. And when Moon Knight airs, it's going to be chaos all of the time. I think I'm going to have a very hard time separating whatever happens with this character from the man, because that seems to be the trend with every project of Oscar Isaac's that I watch. It's just... Anyway, we'll talk about it. So I'll be talking about that soon. As
feelings about that character, so
I can't wait to hear them. I know nothing about
the way
this
I
character.
reread Moon Knight comics.
So we will be talking about Moon Knight as we get closer, as the trailers drop, as details start coming about the show, and we will all get educated together so we can do our after parties together like we have been doing for the past Marvel shows. And until then, we'll see you next week. We'll say goodnight to TikTok first. Thanks for tuning in, everybody on TikTok. And everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch, make sure you subscribe and do all the different things you do on the platform that you're watching on, and invite a friend to come hang out with us next week. We love when you invite more people into the community, and we have a lot of big news that's coming soon that we're working very hard on in the background, and Instagram stories sees everything first. So if you're not following Instagram stories for any of us, you're missing all the news and behind the scenes of how the show comes together. And we're so grateful for you that you come and hang out with us every week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.